Moscow and Washington keep moving towards peace and have agreed to continue their negotiations. Trump's administration called the meeting in Riyadh the first truly monumental step towards peace in the Russia-Ukraine war. There is a lot of work to be done, and the fighting will continue until the last day of negotiations, but both sides seem committed to look for a consensus. Judging by the first round of negotiations, Moscow and Washington agree on some important points, including the need for elections in Kiev, which could bring a legitimate president to power who could take the country under his control. Any agreements on this point are yet to be confirmed, but Trump does not waste time and has begun publicly flogging Zelensky. He finally acknowledged that Zelensky is a completely incompetent president, makes ridiculous statements, and reportedly has a rating of only 4%. He does not know where half of the money given by the United States has been lost. The Ukrainians will have to pay for American support. The Ukrainians could have avoided the bloodshed without territorial losses, but the Kiev regime allowed the war to continue after it had 3 years to sit down at the negotiating table. If Ukraine wants its place at the negotiating table, then elections must be held. What was blamed on Russian propaganda turned out to be true. Only the Kiev regime and some European leaders continue denying the reality. Playing up muscle in the MSM, they have no more leverage left to make their voice heard. The main decisions on Ukrainians' future are now being made without Brussels, and in the case of the US-Russian deal, the EU risks being completely pushed back to secondary roles in the international security system. Macron did not give up and hastily convened the second European summit on Ukraine after the first attempt led to no results. Contradictions are growing within the EU, and many countries have already expressed their dissatisfaction with the fact that their opinion is being ignored. Leaders of some countries, like the Czech Republic, Romania, and Slovenia, were not invited to the summit. Europeans have no consensus on the key issues of European security. Amid the economic crisis, only 23 out of 32 NATO members have fulfilled their obligation to pay 2% of their GDP for defense. Almost none of them have the means to reinforce national and EU military. Eastern Europe has traditionally demanded a harsh reaction to Russia. The UK has declared its readiness to send troops to Ukraine. In their turn, Paris and Berlin took less militaristic positions. In particular, Macron rolled over and said he was not going to send troops to Ukraine. European dependence on Washington and years of hysterical policy against Russia have driven them into a strategic dead end, no matter how the war in Ukraine ends.